Okay, people, hospitals around the world currently are being shut down at an increasing rate. Just in the Netherlands alone, 20 hospitals in the last year have been shut down, where at least one of the wards have been shut down for several days. Now, some of these hospitals are completely shut down from this new super bacteria, and they will not reopen. Two of these hospitals are in Rotterdam, Maastad Ziekenhuis Locatie Clara and Locatie Zouder, and they're doing this all over Holland and quarantining hundreds of people where there's almost no hope. The problem is they're not testing people until it's way too late. Now we're going to go through some photos of how to truly contain this type of respiratory infection and the way that that is most successful, how they contained it in China. But it's only multiplying in China. They haven't stopped anything at all. They put everyone in jail who speaks up and lets you know the truth of what's going on with the bacteria in China. They sentence people left and right if anyone makes any alarm about their SARS that has continued. SARS just means severe acute respiratory problems. You know, this is nothing that's a virus. You know, this is just talking about when people are having bad respiratory problems, okay? And it's not stopped. They sweep it under the rug, just like CNN. Well, they were reporting 5 years ago that even these older bacteria that haven't mutated as bad as today, that it was already killing more people than AIDS kill. They do not keep the numbers, but still the numbers show that there are more dying from it. There are not, if they mention it on a death certificate, that's rare. Normally they don't test for these bacteria when someone dies. But left and right, I know people personally, they were in perfect health, young, 20 years old, check into a hospital because of a sudden pressure in the head and pressure in the lungs, and then they die as soon as they arrive in the hospital, all suddenly. And left and right people are reporting, and they're making videos, and it's come out and it's showing not only the people making videos, but even the Center for Disease Control, even on regular radio and news reports of regular mainstream news for the last few years. They've been saying left and right, it is no longer affecting the elderly only, but this new superbacteria, the difference with the new superbacteria, now I quote you, all the sources are saying this, the difference now with the new superbacteria is not only the weak and the elderly, but now the young and the strong people are getting it. And this is from the Center of Disease Control. And I've interviewed Center for Disease Control people for the Watchman News Report, and they have let me quote them that they're not testing people and they will not test people. And everyone has to get sick, and we're going to see who survives, basically. Alright, it's a severe situation, but I wanted to just go through some videos to show how to contain and how to survive this outbreak that has only multiplied. Okay, let's go through a few photos here in China. You have to, if you go into an area that has this isn't even going to protect people. You look at this, they have to have cloths to wipe around their eyes. I mean, this is dangerous to go around like this. Let's say you go into a supermarket that's been infected. Each one of these people could end up getting it and dying. Okay, you see this guy here spraying the cars, spraying the inside of the cars, stopping every car that goes by. Alright, this guy here, he's going to get pretty sick, but maybe he has pretty strong lungs. It's only going to damage his lungs a little bit. Now here's another approach, basically spraying the air with disinfectant. This is not really going to go very far, as infection in the air can only be minimized, but it hides in corners and things like this. You're not going to get very far with this. You know, they spray all over the place. They spray the ground, they spray the air, they spray the sides of buildings. They all go around with sprayers. This is just when there's 2 or 3 people falling ill, okay? Spraying everywhere, filling up all the different types of sprayers. You see, this kind of spraying, while it's important, this isn't going to go far enough. Not for this. You have to follow a biblical requirement. That is a 7-day quarantine. They do that also in China, but the problem is they're not doing well enough. Every single person there, young, small, and great, they all will wear a mask. So they might survive these next waves as the bacteria has only multiplied. And now with the NDM-1 virus, the super strain, where now it's like has an armor, NDM-1, look it up. And now they're not testing for that anywhere. Nowhere are they testing for it. They say, well, we'll let some third world country test for it, but those third world countries, they're going to put people in jail before they test for it. They all answer to the insurance companies. Insurance companies answer to the stock market and to their own bottom line. And then they expect, oh yeah, well then that means the medical's going to be okay, because, you know, we only do what the insurance companies tell us. And then the insurance companies and the stock market, they all want to blame laws. And they say, oh, you see, you passed Obamacare, you see? And they wrote Obamacare. And now this is where everybody's going to be, in bars, not allowed to leave the hospitals. And that's currently what's going on. Still, in Holland even, there's some people, they're not allowed to leave. But they don't test for this until they're dying, until it's too late. And they say everybody has to go to work. Everybody has to bring this around, and they cannot get it out of their environment unless they really do a big decontamination. Those 2 hospitals, they clean very well at hospitals, okay? But that Klebsiella Super Bacteria strain, they are not able to clean it enough, and they have to demolish 2 entire super hospitals, okay? You know, they spray in the trees, they spray the sides of the buildings, okay? They spray the stairs where people walk because it sheds everywhere. This stuff, if it's airborne, it flies in the air everywhere you go, okay? This guy knows what he's doing. This works. They've been through many flus, but the problem is reinfection. He knows not to get reinfected. He personally overcame, and these people have overcome it many times. But the damage is there, and they're not ready to go get infected again. Okay? So, none of the Congress ever read what's in Obamacare. They just said we need to pass it and then we can start to see what's in it. Now, it's all been these big trillion-dollar insurance companies and special interests. It was the banks and the stock market and everything else, where they loan and they control the interest. And that they're saying, well, these biggest companies in the world are the biggest companies in the stock market, and they all are medical tied. They're all tied together, and if, you know, we don't do something to make more money, then well, the stock market will go down and the banks will lose money, and it's not going to affect us. But that we have to change the medical care. now. They've done it, and this isn't going to save us. When they ignore and they only go what's in the computer now that they're allowed to treat, what the insurance companies will pay for, but private freedom to have your own tests and freedom to have your own medicine and your own treatments, that's the only thing that'll get people through the pandemics. And the most free way to go is separation and quarantine for 1 week. Anytime you see anyone who has a white sore or a red sore, inflamed, that's going to be a sign right there that they have the super bacteria. Okay, you can normally feel the biting in your skin. If you have that, then it's a very extreme case and you need to immediately take a shower, and take 2 showers per day, and rinse and use wet cloths for 1 week. For 1 week, you'll need to probably vacuum your bed. If you're around any of these kind of people with the biting in the skin, the sores, and so forth, you will need to just follow what the Bible says. It says take 2 baths when you see red sores or you're around red sores, and you're going to be basically considered unclean in the Bible. And we have to get back to the Bible to survive these things. It's all coming back, all the plagues that were here before. And they found the bubonic plague DNA in the same strains in different viruses, but the strains of the super bacteria, that's the most worst part. It's not always the virus that's bad, but it's the bacteria or the fungus that goes with it. These fungal amoebas that just hit Joplin, Missouri, and they're saying it was making like a zombie disease out there. Okay, it's the same situation. It works like a fungus. The only thing that will work is quarantine and water and a lot of prayer and waiting for the 1 week to 2 weeks. Now, if you get a really deep infection, it could take a little bit longer than a few weeks, but you can get over it. Remember, even Jesus, when he cleansed a leper, when he did so, he said, now go do all the things that are in the law, which included the taking the baths 2 times, the burning the clothes, all the things that's in the scripture. He said, now go do all. After he cleansed them of it, they needed to clear it out of their whole environment. Okay, this is just showing scientifically how it's worked to get rid of the super bacteria. You can get tests. Labs are giving out tests where you can try and determine if you have it. A lot of hospitals, like I know in Brussels, they do 10 swabs per person to find the bacteria. You can't just take 1 swab and send it into a lab. You got to get every crack of your body checked and swabbed to get a good reading. You can get also kits that do, anyone can buy it privately, that can do surface areas. You can swab surface areas, and then, alright, make sure that they test a wide spectrum. Okay, the super bacteria is not just one of the viruses that accompany super bacteria. Tell them to test for all staph related bacteria, and then you should be alright. And you can really help save some lives, because it just takes a second. This stuff is fast. You got to be vigilant. You got to be spraying. Get a spray bottle. You don't have to do like these guys with the big lawnmower type spray, machines, and spraying every car that drives by. But you got to think about it. If you're a shop owner, wipe down every piece of equipment there if there's any sign of infection. If you can buy some ozone machines, that's one way. It cleans the whole air. Of course, you can't be there while it's blowing, because it's not that kind of gas. You can't really breathe. You can get ionizers. You can do magnetic resonance stimulation to get it out of your system faster, so you're not contagious. You can try a nasal probiotic. You can take any good probiotic probably and use it nasally or in the rectum. This has been another Watchman Report. Yahweh bless you.